Loneliness isn't just about, I don't have somebody to hang out with. It's, I don't know if I feel needed or valued by somebody. And the best way to cut through that is to make somebody else feel needed or valued. Know their coffee order, show up, celebrate their promotion at work, show up when it's not easy and you're tired, show up because you feel they would need you there. And it's a duty.
Today we're talking with Matt Ritter, co-host of the Man of the Year, the country's #1 friendship podcast. Matt and his childhood friend Aaron Caro have turned their 35-year friendship and annual Man of the Year tradition into a mission to combat the male loneliness epidemic. Matt shares why friendships die without dramatic endings, his TCS framework that prevents friendship drift, how rituals keep guys connected for decades, and what vulnerability between men actually looks like. Welcome to the show, Matt. It's great to have you.
To jump in, I'd love to hear the origin story for you and when you recognize the importance of male friendship.
For me, it's very funny. I kind of backed into becoming this friendship expert. We had built what we call the world's greatest friendship tradition. 9 of my childhood friends from Plainview, Long Island. Every Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we go to the famed Peter Luger's Steakhouse in New York. And we built a giant trophy, half the size of a Stanley Cup, called the Man of the Year trophy. And we vote on who had the best year of life. And the winner gets their name engraved. And how you win is completely subjective. You could have a kid and people say nobody cares. You can make $1 million, people say nobody cares. It's just a fun way that has kept us in touch. And organically over the years, people would start saying, oh, I wish I did that with my friends. Or they would actually email like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? So we realized people were so invested in this thing. And my buddy and I were like, wait, that's so interesting. Apparently we're a rare breed that has maintained these healthy friendships well into our 40s. And so that's sort of how we started thinking, oh man, there's a lot of people struggling with this, especially men. We'd get all of these wives being like, oh my God, my husband has no friends. Or you just hear a lot of people going, yeah, I just woke up one day at 40 and I have no friends. And so when we realized that the problem was everywhere, we were like, this is something we know how to do. So it just organically was 2 comedians riffing on our friendships. And then it just kind of spitballed into this thing of the New York Times interviewed us, the Today Show, and we realized, we were over the bullseye, essentially. Right. And so then we started interviewing experts and doing all the research, quote unquote. But really for us, it's like living it. Now I have 2 kids. I'm very busy. So when I hear people say, I don't have time for friends, I go, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, we're recording this here in LA.
Yeah.
So talk about long distance friendship, because I think when people think of their childhood friends, most of us have moved away from our childhood homes.
I have 2 thoughts. I did a very spicy Instagram video that went crazy viral. People were very divided. I said, either live near your friends or make friends with the people you live near. And people are like, screw you. I love my long distance friends. I'm like, guys, I built a trophy to my long distance friends. And yes, you have to stay in touch with them. But at the same time, life doesn't live just in the highs of getting together with your boys for that boys trip once a year. It lives in the, who can I take a walk with? Who can I get coffee with? Who can I talk to about this thing that's going on in my day? Your friends are professionals. They're busy. It's not always possible. That's not to say you shouldn't stay in touch with them. Absolutely should. It's rewarding to have lifelong friends,
Right.
But you need that mix of both.
Proximity to me feels so essential for friendship, but oftentimes we think of moving to a place for proximity to work.
That's the problem, because we move somewhere and we're starting over just for that thing, for work or whatever. Or maybe we meet somebody dating wise, we meet a partner, but we never think of it as, oh, I have to reconfigure my friendship group. A lot of people go, oh, I have my friends from childhood. I'm good there. Right. And then they move and they're like, I have nothing to do this weekend, right? What are you going to do? There's a new restaurant that opened in my neighborhood. Can you call your friend from New York to pop into that new restaurant? You can't. So, the notion that you don't need to start over, or you don't need to prioritize friendship is nonsense. Also because just generally, just let's back up, when you have a healthy friendship circle of people nearby, you show up better as a husband, as a father, as a coworker. All of these things, people think friendship is a luxury, and it feels like now with all the studies backing it up, like the Harvard study that a lot of people are talking about, there was an 85-year longitudinal study on health and happiness, right? Yeah. They found the number one indicator wasn't how much you make, your diet, your exercise. It was the quality and health of your relationships. So it helps you live longer. And you see all the experts, Arthur Brooks, Jay Shetty, Sahil, they all say it now, right? Friendship is a necessity, but what nobody's really saying is it also has to be a strategy in your life. And I know you guys, I'm like preaching to the choir here about, I'm amazed that there are men who built up all these friendships in their life and then they move to a new city and then you go, what's your friendship strategy? They go, I'm just winging it. Why? You're a successful businessman. Would you wing your investment strategy? Would you wing your dating strategy?
Not at all.
Of course not.
For a lot of our clients, at least, in order to achieve that career success, that North Star for them, they feel they have to do it alone. They're in competition mode. And it's hard to then translate that into friendship mode, like building real friends. And I think what ends up happening for a lot of our clients, at least, is that lone wolf mindset leads to a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
So people that'll show up for their birthday, they'll have like a room full of people for a couple events a year. But then you're sharing that moment where like, man, shit really hit the fan, or I'm really struggling. Who do I have to just go on a walk with or go to the farmer's market with and just get this off my chest? That's absent in many of our clients' lives.
So I consider myself a high achiever. You are as well. The audience is as well. It's a big fallacy that we've been sold, this lone wolf thing. I think it's really been harmful, right? I always grew up thinking, if I crush it at work, I worked at the biggest law firm in the world. I went to an Ivy League law school and I marry the right person and I buy a nice house, I will be successful and therefore I will be content. But that missing piece of friendship wasn't even in the equation. And now a lot of these high value men are going, well, I did all this stuff. I did the lone wolf. So why are you not content? Because you're missing the friendship piece. And I will challenge you to this idea of, I got to do it alone. Everybody's competition. Your confidence should allow you to go, no, I can let other high value competitive men in my life and we can be a wolf pack and we will win. And you'll be so much happier than these guys that you're talking about that have crushed it so hard in all their other aspects. And when the birthday party comes, it's like, these guys don't even really know me.
Yeah. And that sucks when you actually feel like people don't know the real you. They know you in your career. They know you as maybe the party animal back from your college days. But as your identity has shifted, if they don't know the real you, you really are lacking the quality of relationships that lead to that longevity.
I feel so strongly that people want to be seen and they want to be heard, but deeper than that, they want to be known. They want to actually be known by people. So that's what you're talking about. There's this loneliness of like, oh, I don't have anything to do this weekend, or I don't have a community, but there's a much deeper loneliness when you don't feel known by people, when you don't feel remembered. You ever have that feeling where you go to a party and you shake somebody's hand and they go, what's your name again? You're like, I've met you 3 times, right? And so you could say one of 2 things happening. Oh, that guy's a jerk, or you're not visible. You're not being somebody that is worth knowing or worth remembering to this person. And you have to assess why that is happening. A lot of people go to me, they go, oh, I want to break into this friend circle. I don't have friends. What should I do? I'm like, well, be somebody worth being friends with. What are you contributing, right? All these people who are contributing in all these other aspects of their lives are not contributing to friendship.
A big part of that, and especially what we've seen in our clients, is this hope as a strategy. So I put myself in situations where socialization is happening around me, and I hope that someone's going to take enough interest in me that they're going to get to know me deeply. And what we preach is, no, you actually have to showcase the curiosity of getting to know other people deeply in order for them to take any interest in you. And then once they've taken interest in you, yeah, you got to back it up. Like, you have to have a life that welcomes people in, that creates opportunity for friendship. And if I meet you, we have a great conversation, and then we try to hang out and it's, well, I'm busy for the next 5 weeks, we've lost all momentum, and that likelihood of building a friendship is gone. And these are just strategies that we can go into deeper as we go through the show, but I think they just don't even get discussed. You know, everyone talks about the surface level stuff. If I'm in the right place and socialization is happening around me, then I will make friends. And that is completely missing how to do it.
100%. Friendship is not showing up to a place, going to more parties. It's completely a muscle. You don't work out one time and expect to be in good shape, right? It's amazing to me that people don't understand that what you're talking about. It's absolutely a strategy. It's absolutely a skill. My grandma had a great expression. She had a lot of great expressions, but one of them was, if you have a conversation with somebody and you reveal more about yourself than they reveal, you're a sucker, right? Their whole thing was like, you need to be learning and listening to people, not just, but everybody wants people to know about them. And most of the time people are just waiting to talk.
Yeah.
Right? So you're talking about strategy. It's like, first of all, let's just stop waiting to talk. How about listening to somebody? And when I say being remembered, there's so many easy ways to make somebody feel known, right? I mean, not to jump ahead of, hey, here are some tips, but it's like, be precise with your compliments, right? Like I throw parties all the time. Somebody says good party, fine, whatever. They say, oh, I love the questions that you asked of everybody at the party that really made me conquer some of my fears. Like we throw Thanksgiving parties, right? And instead of just saying, hey, what are you thankful for? We have everybody go around and we ask a different question every year with the purpose of getting to know people better. Because that is why we gather, right? I don't know why you go out and get together with people if not for that reason. We're social creatures. So last year it was say one thing out loud that you're afraid to say out loud that you want to accomplish this year. And for the rest of the year, anytime I saw somebody, they're like telling me about the progress of that because they go, oh, this person actually cares.
So many in our audience complain about small talk and they feel that because they don't like it, then they disengage and they avoid it. But you can just jump past it, especially in an environment where you're hosting. And that's such a great strategy. But even in conversations where you're socializing, you can jump to that depth with a really precise compliment or a recognition of something detail that really caught you in that conversation that makes you memorable.
Yeah.
Because you're not listening at a surface level. You're not engaging in small talk anymore. You're actually seeing and valuing them for who they are, for their identity that they're portraying.
You had an episode, I forget who it was with, but you said something great about when people ask you what you do. It was something about software, and I really clocked it because my dad was a software engineer. I actually founded a software company in the 80s. But anytime anybody would ask him what he would do, he'd say, I'm a troubleshooter.
Yeah.
And I was always like, that's so cool. I didn't even really understand it at the time, but both of my parents are excellent communicators and excellent conversationalists. And it's like, wow, that was such a simple hack. I don't even know if he was thinking about it at the time.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's genius.
But that is how you stand out.
Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about being memorable, if you want to start to create friendship momentum, then you have to be able to stand out in these social events where people are mingling and people are meeting lots of different people. You can do that by asking great questions. You can do that with precise compliments that really recognize an identity signal that someone is sharing in conversation, not the surface level stuff of like, oh, we watch the same sports or we come from the same hometown. But when you really recognize them at a deeper level, you become memorable and then they actually chase more of your time, which helps that friendship momentum.
100%. I brought over a bottle of Blanton's for a friend's birthday that I couldn't make. And he was just stunned that I remembered that was his favorite bottle of bourbon. Like nobody had ever even thought to commit that to memory.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like the guy, I did it because I like him, but also that's just how I operate because it is a strategy of mine. I do want these people to go, oh, this person knows me. They care enough, and totally when you're at a gathering and you're talking to somebody, it's an opportunity to get to know them, right? You could talk about the weather, you could talk about sports, or you could say, I know you're into food. I'm thinking I have a friend in town this weekend. Give me your 5 best Italian restaurants. You know? I mean, how much more mileage are you going to get out of that?
My favorite one to take it a level deeper is to ask where they take their friends or family when they visit. Because
Absolutely.
those are the hidden gems where they've put in a lot of thought about the other person. When you ask someone, hey, give me a piece of advice or give me some feedback, they don't know you enough, especially in those social environments. But that will create that memory, that fondness of that emotion that they had with the people that they care about in their life, taking them to that restaurant.
As I said, I listened to a few recent episodes. We talk about this in the audiobook. Show up with passion, do things or talk about things you're passionate about. That's where you shine. You put yourself in an environment that you're not interested in or you're not excited about, you're probably not going to be the best you.
Right.
So you're not going to make friends. Why would you?
I think a misnomer with passions is that people think they have to be really good at it. So if they want to talk about it, they want to sell themselves, they want to market themselves.
Right.
And for some of us, like our passions, we might not be great at yet, but that passion, that journey for you shines through and makes you memorable and stand out. So we encourage all of our clients, showcase those passions, even if you're just getting into AI or you just started vibe coding and you're learning, maybe you're not the expert software engineer yet, but when you share that at that event, at that gathering, you are going to stand out for having the energy that people want.
Absolutely. I did just start vibe coding, by the way. I'm not very good at it, but it's a topic point. I'm a bird watcher. I don't even know how one could be really good at it. I'm not very good at it, but it is something it's interesting. People send me now all kinds of bird-related stuff, but I love that because it says, you know me. You know me. We're friends. This is a deep quality friendship.
And you're that person on their phone that they know will appreciate when they see that bird.
Yeah. You know
like
what
if you send it to me, I'm like,
totally.
What's the bird for?
I do too. This is a hack. It's a lot of people have this idea, especially business professionals, that they don't want to be transactional, right?
Right.
They're afraid of crossing this line of like, oh, well, these things should be organic, right? It's almost like 20 years ago, people used to think that that's what dating should be, right? And now that's obviously nonsense, right? To just walk in blind with no strategy for dating. We're on the precipice of people hopefully understanding that about friendship as well. So we put it in the audiobook. I had a tip called buy to build a crew. My thing is I happen to just buy tickets for things all the time, concerts, sporting events, whatever I'm into. And then I pick people who I know are also into those things.
Yeah.
And then we have a good time. And now I've leveled up the friendship. Now, some might say, oh, that's transactional. Like you're buying friends. Like, okay, but I'm doing something I want to do anyway.
For me, I actually got season tickets. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago now. Got 2. Same thing. And then I had a few friends who were like, hey, I want to pool. I want to select games. So now I know that I'm going with them for 10, 12 games. But you have a full season. You have so many opportunities now to hear, oh, you like basketball? Hey, do you want to go to this game?
Yeah.
And living in LA, we have a lot of transplants here. So, I can take someone to a basketball game of their hometown team.
Yes.
And share that experience together.
Yeah. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. My Knicks are coming in March. I got the tickets lined up for the Clippers and the Lakers. By the way, Lakers are 10 times the price of the Clipper tickets.
Always.
But it's amazing that, to me, it really comes down to, do these people really want to do it? Because if you want to do it, it's easy.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about people trying to optimize their life, we're in this era of optimization. Everybody is trying to optimize every area of their life, physical fitness, cold plunging, smoothies, dating optimization, investment optimization. Friendship is the original life hack. The ROI on friendship is so much higher than all of those things combined. I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah.
And it's actually easier than a lot of those things to pull off. So to me, it's like when somebody says, oh, I'm married, I have kids, I've got a big job, I don't have time for friendship. You're just saying you don't prioritize this thing. And either it's because you don't realize how important it is, or you're just resigning yourself and you're going to these parties and going, nobody likes me. Why can't I go deeper? It's like, because you have no strategy. You're just showing up.
Let's talk about that strategy in particular, because the optimization for me and what I preach to our clients is that, hey, pursue that self-care, whatever it is for you. If it's the exercise, it's cold plunge, but invite someone to do it with you. Take the berries class with them, go to the cold plunge with them, and have that invite in your pocket. And for those who are time starved, you still get the self-care. You're now oriented around other people who care about very similar things, because the likelihood of me not liking cold plunge and joining you at the cold plunge is 0. So now you start to recognize you have opportunities. The time is there. You're just choosing to do it alone. You're choosing to do it with your AirPods in because you're out of work, instead of actually saying, hey, you know what? Anything that I'm already doing, why am I not using that as an opportunity to invite a friend into my life?
I'm shaking my head because I'm loving this, because I wrote a recent newsletter. I'm a huge James Clear fan.
Yeah.
And I wrote it's called The Friendship Habit. It's just one weekly tip for people. And a couple weeks ago, I said, friendship is the easiest habit to stack.
Absolutely.
What you just said, I mean, it just fits in everywhere.
For a lot of us, we feel that the rejection of saying, hey, you want a cold plunge, and hearing, I can't. It stings. And you feel like, again, going back to that transactional, like, hey, I'm putting a lot of effort out here and people are saying no. But what I've found that's really interesting, we call it the power of the invite. When you get comfortable just inviting people into your life, there's actually higher ROI on that on the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found is like, you're going to get no's for sure. People are going to say no, can't, busy, kids, whatever. But you've now gone top of their mind because they're thinking of the next time that they have something going on, who can I invite? And when you make that invite the habit, I've been invited to things from people who've said no 4 or 5 times. And then they thought of me and said, hey, I got a foursome for golf. You want to come join? And thankfully, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm like, yeah, actually, I can make that work. But it was all because I was persistent in inviting. I didn't take it personally when they were too busy. They couldn't do it. It didn't work.
So all of these things that are perceived as selfless that I do, that you do, are also selfish.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my wife and I are super hosts. I invite people to things all the time. And on the one hand, I love doing it and I am generous by nature. But on the other hand, I am setting myself up to be invited to things. The host, that's why I always come back to hosting. The host never has a bad social life.
No.
The person in your neighborhood who hosts things, I guarantee you they're getting invited to a lot of things.
And for our clients who want to start hosting, so we call it the social sales funnel. So a marketing sales funnel, you have to find a bunch of people who might be interested. You have to qualify the people who are interested, and then you want to sell them your services if you have a business. Same thing with friendship. You build a social sales funnel by going out and meeting a bunch of people that could be your friend. Then you qualify them by hosting an event, something that you love doing. So when I first moved to LA, we signed up for NFL Sunday Ticket. And every Sunday, my apartment building had a pool, and we would just say, hey, going out on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what are you guys doing? We're watching the game. And with Sunday Ticket, you could watch any NFL game. All the people who are transplants are like, yeah, I want to watch my hometown team and hop in the pool. And over time, building that little qualifying step of hosting the pool party with NFL on Sunday, we're going to do it anyways. We built a vibrant social circle where we're getting invited to concerts, events, things, all because we had that one event happening. Now, when we hear that, a lot of our clients will say, oh, but most people said no. And for me, the shift is actually just appreciate the people who showed up. Stop focusing so much on the no's and celebrate the people who are there and invite them to the next thing. And you're going to build the momentum to friendship because those one-off hangs are what actually starts a real friendship.
Can I just tell you about our group called the Dilfs of Larchmont?
Yeah.
I met one of my now best friends walking my stroller almost 3 years ago. He was walking a stroller. And I could have said nothing, but I was like, this guy's around my age. Seems like I've seen him around the neighborhood. I said I liked his stroller. I was the souped up McLaren, and we got to talking. And that night I was hosting an event and I invited him and he showed up. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. He showed up by himself to this thing. Fast forward, we now share an office together. He's, I'm doing entertainment stuff. He's a tutor. We overhear some weird combos. We share an office and we're like, there's a lot of young dads in this neighborhood. We should do something about that.
Yeah. So
we just called ourselves the Dilfs of Larchmont. My wife goes self-proclaimed. And we got hats and we just started kind of auditioning and inviting guys. And I hosted a poker night at my house. We started a basketball league. The first week, just me and him showed up. The second week, 3 guys. By the 6th week, we had enough for a half court. Now it's a year later and we have like 25 people.
Yeah.
And when we host things, some people show up, some people don't show up. Sometimes it's a couple people, sometimes it's not. But it's already there. The infrastructure is built and it has led to such an increase in the overall social health of my life. The other part that I want to talk about with your audience is this notion that it's all or nothing with friendship. I think a lot of people are searching for this like best friend, soulmate person, or nothing. I think there's a value in having a concert buddy who may not be your deepest friend. I think there's a value in having somebody who shows up for the basketball and maybe doesn't want to hang out afterwards. I think all of these levels increase your overall social health, which is also super important.
And people are changing and evolving. So just because right now that's the concert buddy, he has his first son,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you have way more to relate on, and now you have that deeper friendship.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying discount acquaintances, but I think we have to start to realize that it's on us to turn those acquaintances into friends. We have to give them the opportunity to be our friend, not wait for the acquaintances to make us their friend.
We called it level up moments in our audio. A lot of people are looking for those. Like, how do I take this person? It's like, well, how do we get to know each other better? I find one of the biggest overlooked one is going on vacations with somebody obviously levels them up, right?
Yeah.
But how do you go on vacations? You could just go to the San Antonio Winery downtown out of your rhythm of your daily day, and that feels like the same kind of road trip with a friend that will level up a friendship. When your parents are in town, if you introduce that person, they will immediately feel that you've leveled up their friendship.
Absolutely.
There's all these little micro ways to do it where it's like, okay, you're trying to get to this best friend thing, but there are all these little intermediate things that you can be doing that don't really require that much effort.
Going back to our social sales funnel model, you're hosting the event, you're having a great time, people are starting to show up, and the people who really light up the event, that you just enjoy their energy, you invite them to the lunch, you invite them to the one-on-one hang, and you're going to find that that creates that level up moment where they were just an acquaintance who showed up at a party, showed up to watch the football game with a bunch of other people they didn't know, and now you're going to lunch, and now it's your sushi buddy every week. You're checking out a new sushi restaurant. That's what's able to happen there. What the hack for us on the event is, and we talked about this with meetup.com, they wanted us to help their hosts get higher RSVPs and actual people showing up to the events, because to get a meetup off the ground, you need people showing up. It's not just what you put on the website, but how do you get people show up? And as humans, we're afraid of the unknown. We don't know who's going to be there. We don't know what the location is in LA. What's the parking situation like? And we have no idea ultimately, are we going to jive with the people that are there? So we're walking into the unknown. And what we share is give a +1. Like, allow that person to bring a buddy. And if they can bring a buddy to the poker night, they can bring a buddy to watch the game, they're going to be more likely to show up. And you just expanded your reach, because if they're buddies, there's a high likelihood that there's some overlap that you're going to like that person too. So if you're thinking, man, I'm really I'm time starved here, I'm struggling to find the time in my busy schedule, the +1 on the hosting is absolutely killer.
We've done it with every party that we've ever thrown, both through the pod and our live shows. And probably the most obvious and overlooked source of friends is friends of friends. It's insane how overlooked friends of friends are. It's mind-boggling that you could be friends with somebody for decades, and then you could move to Austin, and one of their best friends from college lives in Austin, and you don't feel, you have the permission structure to do that? That's probably your best friend in waiting.
Will be. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All you have to do is get over whatever weirdness you feel. You feel there's a lot of invisible boundaries that we've created for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I'm poaching a friend. No. If you have a real authentic friendship with that friend, the connector friend, they're going to want you to be friends with that person.
So let's talk about the hidden forces that you think are keeping us from having these great friendships as adults, because I have a few ideas I wanted to run by you and get your thoughts on. But I know for a lot of people, they're not even aware. They're just kind of going through their life, and they're obviously searching for career achievement. And that's really important right now, as everyone's concerned about the economy and what's going on with their jobs. And we hear it all the time, especially from our clients in tech. Like, I don't really have much time allotted. I have a partner, or I'm trying to find a partner. So that also takes up time. Self-care takes up time. What are those other hidden forces that we might not be realizing are keeping us from building great friendships?
Well, so can we just back up on the time of it all and the energy of it all? Because this hidden force is the world telling you that friendship drains you instead of energizing you. In fact, a good friendship should be one you look forward to, and when you're done, you're like, that was awesome.
Amazing.
And you tell your wife, you go, man, I got to hang out with this guy again. So what are you talking about, like, energy-wise? You know what I mean? To me, I go, let's reframe and go, I need more energy. This is self-care, right? My wife is always like, you got to go to this, actually, because she knows now. She understands. You have to go to this thing with your friends. You have to go to that steak dinner with your friends, because that is self-care. Also, that just makes you crush at work harder, to me.
Yeah.
I find, and I have an ambitious group of friends, but to me, it's like, they want to celebrate my wins. They also know what I'm going for, and they're holding me accountable to it. So I'm like, next time I see them, I got to be crushing this thing.
And they also have the hidden opportunities in their own relationships to help you in your career that you don't realize.
Right.
And circling back to the wife, the partner, I mean, right now, I think that hidden force is a lot of us try to make our partner our best friend. And there's a reason why your partner, your spouse, is pushing you out to go to the game, to go see your friends, go hit the golf course. I need you to unload on your friends, to talk about everything with your friends. I can't be your partner. I can't be your therapist. I can't be your best friend. But we're forcing the women in our lives into that role, and we don't even realize it.
a very, very, very spicy Instagram video that I did too, where I had my wife act in it. And it just said, your wife can't be your best friend. And it was just me waking up in the morning and I go, I've got a great business idea. And then it was like, hey, babe, do you want to go eat some hot wings together? And it was like, do you want to watch a Van Damme marathon? It's like, no, of course she doesn't want to do these things, you know? But I agree. Your wife can be, let's just separate this. A lot of guys, because I get this question all the time, I get this email and they were like, screw you, my wife's my best friend. I go, okay, fine. Your wife can be your best friend. She cannot be your only friend. There's a distinction there. You want her to be your best, my wife's my number one, fine. She cannot be your only friend for a lot of reasons, like what you talked about. It's too much weight on her. Also, like, let's be honest, ask her, does she really want that? Of course not.
No.
It's not healthy for your relationship. But I do also think you're just overlooking the role that a friend should be playing in your life. Like your friend should be that person that you're, not putting all that burden on. Like there's other places to get some of that venting out, right? Your wife has heard of your business idea 100 times.
Yeah.
By the way.
Or mirroring your positive energy. Yeah. Like sometimes your wife is drained. Maybe she's dealing with the kids. Maybe she's having her own career frustrations. And like you're on 11 because something great happened to you.
I'm on 11 at 6 a.m. My wife cannot be there for me.
No. It doesn't matter how many cups of coffee.
I don't blame her for that. It's like, that's a perfect opportunity to go, hey, I need a 6 a.m. call, friend. And I live on the West Coast, so a lot of my friends are up. That's actually the best time for me to go, I got a great idea for you.
Oh, yeah. 9 a.m. New York. Perfect.
Oh, absolutely. So, yes, the notion that your wife is your only friend, I mean, to me, it's just not a healthy way to live, the same way that being a lone wolf isn't a healthy way to live. It's not better for your career. It's not better for your physical and mental health. And so, but we were talking about invisible boundaries. The other thing that you just mentioned that struck me is a lot of people are afraid of rejection. That's really what a lot of it comes down to. And we joke on the pod, like, you're not trying to meet the one. You're trying to meet a one. Like rejection on a friendship scale, yes, of course, all rejection stings. But at the end of the day, like there are many, many other fish in the sea when it comes to friendship. But when I see these invisible boundaries, it occurred to me that everywhere we go, we have set up these invisible boundaries. Like I do school drop off. There's an invisible boundary that says you kind of just say hi and bye and you can't engage in conversation there. There's an invisible boundary that when you go to yoga afterwards, you just kind of linger for a minute and then you have to go home. Who says you can't invite the dad that you're waiting in school after to pick up to get a coffee across the street? Who says you can't go to the smoothie shop and get, hey, let's get a smoothie after the yoga class? Once you start crossing those invisible boundaries, you realize there was no reason for them to exist at all. They were just in your mind.
And we're talking small things here, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking pull out a calendar, plan the coffee 2 weeks from now. Yeah. We're saying, hey, can you grab 15 minutes after the workout or after the drop off? These are easy yeses for a lot of people.
Easy yeses is super important too, because a lot of people have it built up in their head. Like, okay, I'm going to invite these people. And if they say no, I just shot my load. That's it. I'm rejected. I'm embarrassed. It's like, so let's go in with a strategy to get a yes. What's something that you're pretty sure somebody that you're asking is going to say yes to? It's like, hey, you have 5 minutes, I'm grabbing a coffee. And maybe they won't say yes that time. But there probably is going to be a time where they say yes. And if they don't say yes, they're not that person for you. No big deal. Right. That's fine.
We can move on.
Right.
We talked about work and the time that we spend there worried about it. And I think what has shifted, at least in my career of doing the show started in dating. And I think the selective pressure in dating now has increased in such a manner that so much of our single clients' life now is focused on career and finding that partner, and they leave friendship to the wayside. And then what naturally ends up happening is you find that partner and their partner's like, well, where are your friends? What's your social life? Like, I can't be with you 24/7. Like, I need you to have some things going on. And that's kind of the light bulb moment. But, we've seen just in the 20 years we've been doing the show, online dating. And now all this optionality and everyone searching has led to people feeling like, well, they have to be the better version of themselves. They have to be spending all of their waking time leveling up their career or leveling up their self-care, or they're not going to find that partner. And then the thought of like, well, hanging out on a poker night or doing some things with buddies. And for a lot now, we're also seeing, people are choosing not to drink. We're opting out of those environments where in the past we would have made friends. We would have classically made the buddies.
So I'm a huge proponent of low-key hangs. I'm a huge proponent of just saying, hey, just come over, or let's just take a walk, or come to the house because I have little kids now. It takes the pressure off of, hey, we have to have an event. It also says to that person, like, hey, you're enough. We can just hang out. But when it comes to, this notion of being your best self in dating and being your best self in work, friendship is kind of a nice pressure release where when you already have friends, you can just be yourself. You don't have to be the better version. In fact, you can be the awful version of yourself
Right.
with your true friends. And so when we're spending so much time with, this best self curated, whatever, I mean, you have to perform it on a date. You have to perform while you're working, especially as you're climbing ladder, or I had a whole bit in stand up about how I catfished my wife, and like, she didn't know until 3 years in that I never did any charity work and I'd never read books and like all this stuff. Anyway, it was kind of a joke, but the point is you don't need any of that pretense with your friends. With a true friend, you can just hang out. You don't have to be anybody. You don't have to really try that hard. I mean, when you're with them, you don't really have. The idea is a good friend, you don't have to be performing for.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
It's a missed opportunity if you don't have that release valve for all these other things that we're chasing.
Let's talk about the acquaintances in our life that we feel like could be friends, but we haven't really got them to level up in that relationship. We talked about a few things we can do, but what other strategies can the guys and the gals listening to the show look at those acquaintances and say, you know what, I should do something. There's something I can do here to make them my friend.
Again, we go back to be the friend, right? So it's like, I want this person to like me. Be the friend. What is it on offer that you have? Like what we talked about. Are you listening? Have you taken any cues? What is this person into? What are they passionate? Do you share an interest? I mean, interest-based friendship is a lot easier to make in your, adult life. And again, it's like, invite them into your world, right? Inviting somebody who's an acquaintance into your world is a validating sign for them. Like, hey, do you want to come to my house? You want to, come have lunch? Or like me and my wife are having lunch, come say hi. There's little things that aren't even commitments. Again, things you can say yes to. I want you to meet my wife. Like, come say hi. Like a 2-minute of popping over while somebody's with their significant other. It's like, oh, who is that? Oh, is that your friend? Is that the guy from where? Oh, you guys, you should. And then the wife's going to go, you should hang out with that. I like that guy. And then it's like, oh, okay, now we've decided that we're making a commitment to this person, right? It's like these little micro interactions between, hey, I'm an acquaintance and I'm signaling to you I want it to be more, right? And it's like, you were talking about, hey, give me a recommendation of something you have taken a friend to. It's like, why not when there's an opportunity that feels organic? Like, hey, there's a new restaurant that just opened in my neighborhood. There's a guy in my office that I like. We're definitely acquaintances. But I said to him, hey, man, you like Rubens, right? Like, you're a guy, you like Rubens. I heard they've got an amazing Reuben. Let's just go over there. And I just, honestly, people forget you could just treat somebody like they're your friend.
Yeah.
If you treat an acquaintance like they're your friend now, that will resoundingly make them feel like a positive and, I should say yes to this thing. It's like a friend asking me to go get lunch as opposed to going, oh, I know we're not friends and like, is this weird? It's like, no, we should go get lunch. We should go do this thing. So I think there's a certain level of confidence of acting like somebody's already your friend that's really helpful.
Yeah, we do favors for our friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do for the people in our life that we care about. We might not do that for acquaintances, but if you want to move an acquaintance to a friend, do something that takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And a lot of us right now, we're seeing everything on social media and we're tapping back, we're liking, maybe we're leaving a comment if we're feeling really spicy. But if you want to move that acquaintance to a friend, text them, give them a phone call, hit them up and celebrate them. Give them the emotional support of saying, dude, I saw you posted that trip. That looked incredible. Oh man, you were at the game last night. What was it like to see that finish? Like, all you have to do is move beyond the social media that you're interacting in and move the conversation into a more personal manner. And you're going to find that acquaintance now feels valued by you and is going to recognize that, hey, this is an opportunity to create friendship.
We talked about, I said it's important to feel known. We talked about in the audio, celebrate everything. And I've heard you guys talk about adding celebrate. I celebrate if somebody got laid off. I celebrate if they got promoted. Any reason to go, hey man, that's awesome that you did that thing. Like I have my office mate, he had a freelance article published. And I was like, let's go celebrate, man. He's like, it's not. I'm like, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so if you bring that energy to somebody, because on some level, they do want that.
Absolutely.
We all want that. But
Well, that's why we're posting it.
Right. But nobody does it. It's so rare. Just doing things that are just slightly above the ordinary goes miles in new friendships.
When we first moved to New York City, this was right when Facebook was taking off and everyone was trying to add friends on Facebook, and Facebook had the birthday.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like you'd get notified of all these birthdays, and it's so easy to just, like it or leave a message. But anytime someone on Facebook that I knew when I was in New York City trying to build relationships had a birthday and I had their number, I got off Facebook and immediately sent them a quick message and just recognized them on their birthday. And you'd be amazed how many people who, again, are lacking for friends or feeling really isolated aren't even getting happy birthdays on the most important day of their life.
Look, we're in a place because of COVID, because of what we were talking about, this sort of idea that men were raised to feel content by all this stuff, that we just don't get any recognition. I joke with my wife, men need credit. We do.
Yeah.
We need to feel like valued for the contributions that we make. We all need to feel like we matter in some way. So just giving people these signals that you see them and that you know them, they matter. Like, I know all my friends' coffee orders. You want to make a friend out of an acquaintance? Bring them their coffee the way they like it. They're going to be like, holy cow, this guy's amazing. He knew I liked my latte with that,
right.
With almond milk. What?
Well, that really, it seems to me, is the genesis of the Man of the Year, right? It's that recognition tied to that trophy and the physicality of it. It's not just that digital thing. It's a trophy you bring home to your house and you have it for the year as recognition from a group of guys that you care about.
Physicality is very important. I just talked about this last week. We sent out our first holiday card. I'd never done that before, but we have kids now, so it felt more natural. And I posted, send the holiday card because it gives a physical presence. You go, okay, this is offline. They went the extra mile. This is not the Facebook happy birthday. This is, I'm telling you, you matter to me, and I think you care about my family.
Yeah.
And you're interested, and I wanted you to know that you matter to me, right? And the trophy, again, it's like this tangible thing. And we called it in the audio, ritualize your rituals, right? Name your group texts with your buddies.
Yeah.
Make them stickier, right? If your group text with your buddies has a funny name, it's kind of stickier, right? If your annual trip has a name, it's going to be harder to miss. Like, hey, our Super Bowl, right? So I think it's really important for us, in this, to remember, like, yes, we exist in this digital world, but in IRL, when there's a tangible thing, it means something to people.
Let's talk about rituals, because I feel so many of us feel like we're in this slog and it's just day in and day out. And then if you don't have those rituals, you don't have those things to look forward to, then it actually makes it a lot harder to make the relationship sticky. It makes it a lot more challenging then to get people to commit to it. But if you can start to ritualize things earlier and just commit to it, part of what we were saying with our social sales funnel is, commit to hosting that event, whether it's yearly or monthly, or if it's crazy, weekly, but commit to doing it for an extended amount of time to actually turn it into that ritual that people look forward to, that people recognize, like, hey, it's the end of the month, we're going to be doing that poker night.
And it's not just a ritual, make it part of their identity, right? Or with our dad's group, the Dilfs of Larchmont, if you're a Dilf of Larchmont, you're supposed to be coming to the Dilfs of Larchmont poker night. That's part of who you are. That's part. So a lot of people think friendship just runs on motivation too. It runs on obligation and duty. You want to make your friendship sticky, make it feel like you have an obligation as a person and as part of this community that you've created, and it becomes sticky and you're less likely to miss it. And with respect to calendar, I would submit that the very important thing for men is to have things to look forward to. We just talked about that. I know so many guys that when they have something to look forward to, it's literally all they text about.
Yeah.
Right? It could be months in advance.
Absolutely. That
is top of mind. And it's such a great feeling. So why would you not want to have more of those on the calendar? More things where you go, oh man, I can't wait to get to that thing. I can't wait to go to Vegas with the boys or whatever. It doesn't have to be, again, it doesn't have to be a giant thing. But I also suggest that when you're with somebody, get your next, big event on the calendar. Make sure You guys know when it is. And the reason you ritualize it is you're taking the guesswork out of friendship. This goes back to, the reason I love being here is you guys understand you can't just be in your 40s or 50s or 30s, whatever, a grown adult and just winging super important aspects of your life.
And this is the most important aspect. Yeah. I do want to harp on that again because I think not enough people touch on that. Like, it makes you a better partner. It makes you a better father. It makes you better at your job. It gives you more opportunities in life. When you have a rich social life, you have a rich life. We can't separate the two. And unfortunately, we think we're going to get all of those accomplishments and then we're going to find the friends. It's way easier to get those accomplishments if you find and work towards finding the friends along the way.
And I'll add to that. I've never met anybody really that has a thriving social circle that isn't killing it in business and in relationships.
Absolutely.
And so I actually think they have it upside down. I think if you have a healthy social circle, you're going to have all of those other things. It's just a fact, because you will have already instituted all the infrastructure that you need to succeed in every aspect of your life.
So the group trip, and I've coached a few of my clients on this who want to have the group trip, and then they start the motion to planning and the coordinating, and it feels like they're a secretary and it's a lot of work, and then it either falls apart or they don't get enough people opting in, and then it doesn't continue for the annual thing. And the one thing that I highly recommend is put in the effort. Actually put in the effort. It's worth it. It's always worth it to take the reins, not wait for someone else. Just put in the effort. You're going to find that you enjoy the event because you actually work to get everyone together, and it becomes stickier. And then when you put in the effort, make it real. Like, move it beyond the Google Doc. Move it beyond a text chain back and forth. Like, actually celebrate the fact that you're getting everyone together and make it something that people can really look forward to. Not an obligation of, did you check the Google spreadsheet? Did you put in your dates? Did you figure out, is that going to work? Because if you're not championing it, it's not going to happen.
We talk about friendship roles a lot too. You know who doesn't have any problem socially? The planner. So you should look at it, reframe it as it's a blessing that you're the planner, that people trust you to do this. Look, I understand it feels like an obligation sometimes, but I think if you treat it more like this is a awesome responsibility that you've been given, everybody in the friend group knows. But there are ways to outsource things. If it's like, oh, everybody's putting it on me, it's like, no. Pull them aside one-on-one, go, hey, I want you're the foodie.
Right.
This is your chance to shine, right? Or like, oh, you're the sports guy. Like, find us some cool F1 event. Like, again, it's like part of that thing. Like, once you say, hey, I know you, I know what you're into, I know what you like, and I appreciate what you like, and now I'm tasking you with this, then you won't find that 100% of the obligation falls on you to be the planner. But I do think just every friend group has to accept, like, certain people are going to fulfill certain roles, and you're never just going to get equal buy-in or equal commitment, and that's okay.
As the planner, when you start to slot those people into those roles and delegate, they're more likely to show up.
100%.
Whereas if you just try to do everything soup to nuts, plan everything on your own, they're actually less likely to show up because they haven't really bought in. They haven't searched out the cigar lounge. They haven't figured out the best golf course. They haven't figured out where you guys are going to go after dinner. So they're less likely to show up and commit.
That's why I say friendship cannot run on motivation. It has to run on duty and obligation. Sometimes I just like jokingly, I watch The Crown, I'm like, oh, Queen Anne, she did all this stuff. And it's like, that's crazy. She just showed up at these things. She wasn't even like, it was just like, sometimes I'll be with my friends and I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? Whatever. And it's like, no, I'm just a royal visiting one of my colonies. It's my duty to do this thing, or I'm hosting. It's like, oh, I'm hosting dignitaries. I just sort of reframe it in my brain. I'm like, no, this is my duty. This is my obligation. And it's very sticky when you do that. So if you give people these tasks and they feel obligated and they feel needed, and it's also something they're passionate about, like you said, there's no way they're not going to be invested in this thing.
I always joke with my wife. I have like the introvert in me and the self-doubt as the event approaches, the thing that I've planned. I'm like, do I really need to do? Can I just vibe code all night? Can I do something else? Oh, maybe I'll catch up with this other friend. And then the whole drive there, I'm like thinking about it. And then I always, when I'm checking in with her after, have her remind me like, so wasn't it worth it? Like, because you have to remember that. It's very easy to psych yourself out, see it on your calendar and just be like, I'm going to flake. I'm going to come up with an excuse. There's always something more important that you could or should be doing than the acquaintance hang that could move to friendship. But you really need that reminder after of like, that was awesome. Like, I need more of that in my life.
So first of all, the wife buy-in is huge. If I don't know if your listeners on these trips are married or single, but the married ones, getting your wife or partner to buy in is massive, because they are actually going to be sometimes the person who give you that reminder afterwards when you're going, I don't know, I got work, I got this, I got that, the kids, whatever. I almost missed the night. We're on our 22nd year of our dinner now. I almost missed the 19th. It was during COVID. I was like, I don't want to do that, whatever.
Yeah.
My wife's like, you're getting on that plane. She was like, are you crazy? This is who you are, And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Also, I love it. And we interviewed John Legend for a recent pod, and we were talking about like he wanted to go out and plan a date with a friend, and Chrissy was like, what's my role in this? I said, your role is when he gets home to remind him how fun it was, and then he needs to do it again.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling. What are we even talking about? Hey, we did this awesome trip. It was amazing. I'm feeling really high. Only thing that's happening is you're forgetting how awesome it was, and you're letting all those other negative thoughts creep in. Objectively, you should be going every year because it recharges you.
Yeah. And to the other point of it, letting everyone know after how much fun you had, because they're also feeling that same way.
Yeah.
And I'd love to touch on this communication piece, because I feel like it's very easy to forget to stay connected.
Yeah.
As many ways as we have to be connected, it's very easy to be too busy to actually reply to the text, phone the friend, do the thing that we know we should do to keep the relationship alive. And then when it goes too long, we're kind of dreading, like, who's the first one to make the move? How do we reconnect? So what is your perspective on communication and what we should be doing to create meaningful friendships now in the digital age?
So I want to acknowledge something. Not only does it get harder by the day, it gets exponentially harder the longer you go. So just knowing that, like, that should give you motivation to go, hey, I got to keep this text chain going or whatever. But I would submit the amazing thing about friendship is how resilient it is. So if you check out of your job for 6 months and you just show up, nobody's going to welcome you back.
No.
Right? If you bail on your marriage and your responsibilities as a father for 2 years, you're divorced. It's over. You could not talk to a friend, and if you've ever had this happen, and just text them, hey, miss you, buddy, let's get drinks. They're going to say yes. I mean, that's the crazy part. Like, we built up all this stuff. Unless you've had a falling out, we like to say guys don't have falling outs, they have falling offs. It's just that we were just not doing this thing. So I know it's like, oh, you get into that game of like, well, they didn't text me, I didn't text them.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the goal? I always go, what is the goal? Is the goal to stand on ceremony and stand on principle? Okay, then you'll be lonely. But if the goal is to keep the friendship going and keep it thriving, who cares who texted last? Right?
Yeah.
It's never going to be 50-50. It doesn't have to be 50-50. If you enjoy it and you get something out of that friendship and it is rewarding to you and you don't feel you're getting taken advantage of, then who cares? What are we even talking about?
Right. For us, we recommend all of our clients, just take a minute, go through your camera roll and find that moment that you two or three or the group were just at an all-time high enjoying, and send that photo to the group. Send that photo to the person. It's going to make you feel good just seeing the image, remembering that. It's going to make them feel good no matter what's going on in their life. If they're drowning in diapers or they're slammed with work or they've just been laid off, to get that photo, that video of that moment that you had together, even if it was in college, and then, man, we got to hang out. That is going to fire up that relationship again in a way that I think many of us don't realize. We have the photos.
Oh, yeah.
And Facebook does a great job of reminding us, hey, these are these memories where you should be engaging. Use that to your advantage.
I call my phone a museum of friendship. It is. It's like, I mean, but the difference between that and a museum is you can reanimate any of those woolly mammoths that are in your phone. They're all in there. The photos that you're talking about, I do something very similar where if I pass a place where we had a memory.
Oh, yeah.
Always. I'm always like, oh my God, I just passed this. Wow, we were blackout drunk. Like that was a wild night. And it is. It's so easy to reignite when you have good feelings about somebody and nothing got in the way other than just inertia and life, right? People always just say, I don't have any friends because life got in the way. Okay, well, if you're now feeling that way, today is just as good a day to reignite that friendship. As I said, unlike work or dating, friends are very forgiving of that stuff, and you don't even have to rehash. That's the other thing I'll say. Even if there was a conflict, sometimes there's time for conflict resolution, but sometimes there's time for going, you know what, they just accepted the invite. Just move on and act like you guys are buddies again.
Yeah, I think holding on to those grudges or the conflict and letting pride or ego get in the way sacrifices a lot of great friendship.
Yeah.
You are going to have conflict. It's natural. We have conflict in our family. We have conflict with people that we care about. You're not going to agree and align on everything. But sometimes it takes you being the bigger person to be like, you know what? We don't need to rehash that. We don't need to prove who is right or wrong. I'm sending the invite.
Yeah. And again, I go back to this, being the bigger person is also selfish because you want the friendship, right? If that's the thing you want, then, you don't let your ego get in the way of the thing you actually want.
Right.
And the other thing about friendship is your friends are not mind readers. Half the time we think a friend's mad at us, they're not. Or the other half, we don't think they're mad at us, and they are.
Yeah.
So communicate. Again, it's like, don't assume that things are going on, and everybody, look, we all know everybody has things going on in their life. Don't assume because your friend hasn't reached out, it's because they don't want to hang out with you. It's like, maybe they had just a crap month at work, or, things are going on at home, or whatever it is. So I'm always just a big fan of just the constant, the periodic check-in. We came up with a rubric on the pod, TCS, text, call, see. Text once a week, call once a month, see IRL quarterly. And these are just broad guidelines. But if you have some version of that in your life, just set up, again, this is all about creating structure to take the guesswork out. So if you just went with TCS, you would never not be in touch with any of your friends.
For us, we recommend just creating a weekly habit for reconnection where it's on your calendar. It's space that you'd probably just be scrolling your phone anyways or doing something mindless that probably isn't as helpful. For me, it's Wednesdays. My Wednesdays tend to be in between recording and coaching. So I have time on Wednesday afternoon and I just buzz through my phone. I do a few swipes. Who haven't I talked to in a while who's just dropped down the text messages? I'll hop on LinkedIn. Okay, what's going on with people that I professionally want to stay connected with and socially? And then, after 15 minutes of reconnecting, then I pick up the phone and call someone. And all of a sudden, I've done the heavy lifting of 15 minutes a week to nurture the relationships that could easily be languishing if I just, made an excuse to do something else.
The other amazing thing is you can revive a years dormant friendship with 2 or 3 of those.
Absolutely.
Within a couple of weeks, you could be back in your old rhythms with a friend that, could be just one of your best friends that you just happen to, quote unquote, let life get in the way of.
What's wonderful is it's a muscle, but it's not nearly as hard to build as a physical muscle. Like as dads to hit the gym and get back to our 20-something bodies, we know that is a lot of discipline and hard work to build the muscle of friendship and to maintain friendship. It's not a lot of work. It shouldn't be seen as daunting.
I also noticed there are these studies recently. I saw a couple of studies that said you need 200 hours to make a close friend. I believe that's accurate for people in their teens and 20s, maybe even 30s. When you're older, you can cut that timeline down. You know yourself. You don't have to, like you said, you can cut through the small talk. You can get to the things that matter with people a lot quicker. I submit that you could make a really close friend in 2 months.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this notion that it's like, when people hear that it's 200 hours, like, who's got 200 hours to make a new friend? It's like you could make a new really close friend in 4 hangs.
I think the 200 hours, scientifically speaking, is what it takes on average to just get to depth in a relationship and the amount of time you need to spend together. But I think there are shortcuts and hacks.
Yeah.
And when you block some time and do something physical together, do something in a new location outside of your norm, outside of what you'd be doing anyways, you can create fast friendship very easily. And if you start to create a quarterly time for that in your life, you're going to find that all of a sudden it doesn't feel daunting at all. And you have a great, rich social circle. And for a lot of our clients who join the coaching program, one of the big reasons they join is because they move to a new city. And, you move to a new town and it's a great opportunity to start fresh. You can basically go out and live into this new identity. You can create a new identity for yourself and start over. But it's also very daunting because maybe you don't have that college buddy who knows someone in your town and you really are starting fresh. So what's your advice for those who move to a new city and now listen to us talk about the importance of friendship to actually start from zero building that social circle?
And in the chapter of our book, we call this total effing strangers because it is hard.
Yeah.
Look, it is hard. I'm not going to pretend that that's as easy as just calling an old buddy's buddy. If you're starting fresh, people talk about third places all the time. It is super important to find your third place, right? And could that be a regular coffee shop? Could that be a gym? I find the gym to be a really easy one. Could that be a run club? Could that be a church, a mosque, a temple? Again, it goes back to what are you into? Where are you going to shine? Go somewhere regularly and consistently. I mean, that's really the key to it.
Right. That's what a third place is for those who aren't following. Obviously you have your home, which you're going to be at consistently. You have your work, which you're going to be at either virtually, Zoom. You're going to be spending a lot of your time. And this third place is like, where do you socialize? What is that place where you are going to commit to spending time? Is it a racket club? Is it a country club? Is it a gym? Is it a run club that you know that you will show up consistently and you will use propinquity, which is we naturally like familiarity. That's why you had that crush in middle school because she sat next to you all semester. We like people that we see again and again.
Yes.
And in your neighborhood, the Dilfs, like you see each other again and again, you naturally will like each other. So use propinquity to your advantage. Commit to some one or two things when you move to that new city that you know you're going to do, that you enjoy doing, that you're going to show up as your best self, and then commit to doing it. Show up week in and week out.
So I find two things that happen. One is people don't really commit and they're not consistent. And that we get all these emails. I moved to this new city. I've been going to this place, going to that place, going to this place. Well, hold on. Why are you going to 7 different places?
Right.
We just said commit to one third place. I tried this. I tried that. Okay, so you're the guy that kind of shows up here, kind of shows up there. Those people don't know if they could be friends with you or if you're going to stick around for that. Right? So be the person that commits. The other thing is have a little bit of patience. Right? Don't give up so easily. Like, oh, I tried it. It doesn't work. Okay, what? It's been a month, 2 months. Like, it does take time. And again, you have to be using some of the hacks. If you're just showing up and you're just doing the small talk over and over again, and once you've established that third place and you've established kind of these acquaintances, I think you just hit on it. Take it outside of that place. Take it to what we call fourth place, actually. Because you do have to change. It's pattern interruption, right? It's like, because otherwise you are both accepting that you are only friends in this little box here, in this run club. And that's all it is. And that's all it'll ever be.
It could be as simple as picking the brunch spot after the Saturday morning run club, which is what I literally did. I was talking to a bunch of clients. They're like, oh, run club. Everyone just like runs and then they go and they scatter. And I was like, let me go. I'll do this myself. Like, let me show you guys how easy it is when you find a healthy spot that's going to have options for runners who care about their health, and you do a little bit of planning. You book the table for 6, and then your sole goal after run club is to get 5 other people to show up. It's far easier than you think. But naturally, you've observed the last 3 run clubs you've been at. Well, yeah, everyone just clumps together. They have their little cliques and they run off. You got to put in just a little bit of effort to create the opportunity to build the friendship. It's not just showing up.
It's funny. It's a couple of things that you hit on that are amazing. One is that people see it and they go, that's how it is. That's how it has to be, right? Our brain goes, oh, I guess that's how it is. You show up, you leave, that's it. What I'm talking about, invisible boundaries. We've created these, they're not real. They're not real. You could just step over it and go, hey, we're doing brunch. Another one is, this is a bit of a hack because it is hard. So use the actual calendar of the third place to your advantage. By that, I mean, there's usually a natural cycle of these things. So for me, it's our basketball. It ends because it's at the school. So every quarter it kind of ends. So that's a natural point to go, hey, end of season basketball. I rented the table at the sports bar. Let's go watch a game. Same thing with the run club, right?
Yeah.
Like presumably there's cycles. Use the actual natural calendar year for moments to go, okay, I now have an excuse, because sometimes it does feel a little awkward. So you can play into the calendar going, oh, before we all disappear for summer,
Yeah.
let's do this. And the thing that's great about it is it's self-selecting. The people who actually are seeking out friendship from the run club will show up for that brunch.
Yeah.
We know this.
And you can use seasonality of sports. It doesn't even have to be a third place.
Right.
Like if you have a third place where, naturally there is no seasonality, but you've had some conversations with people, overheard some conversations about them enjoying F1. Well, if you invited them to watch the race, the replay yesterday, man, you would have had a full house.
Yeah.
So the point being, when you observe and then you put a little bit of effort in, and then the last thing that I'll add is be honest. I just moved here. Do you know how many people love showing new people their favorite places and giving you a leg up?
But this is this limiting belief that people don't want to be friends with me. I suck. I don't have anything to offer, blah, blah, blah. You know? It's like if you go, hey, I'm a pretty cool guy. I just need a little direction here. If you go in with that mindset, people are going, I want to show this guy. I want to show this guy my city.
Yeah.
I want to show this guy my city. Everybody loves showing this guy your city. The other thing I was going to say about the calendar, I actually use the calendar in my everyday life to just as a, hey, it's this time of year, I can use this. Towards the end of the year, sometimes before the holidays, I'll go, hey, just checking in before things get crazy, right? Because everybody, the last couple weeks, people are distant, they're traveling, whatever. And then in the new year, it's like if I haven't spoken to you by the end of January, I just go, before the year gets away, let's get something on the books now because I want to stay in that consistent pattern.
Yeah.
With all of these built-in ways to do it, if you really want to seek them out.
I love that. I think it's a great way to wrap.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all these hacks and tips and strategies, and hopefully expanding our audience's mind around how easy friendship really can be.
Look, it's so easy. I want to say that we are so focused on purpose in relationships and work. I want to remind you that we want to have purpose in our friendships too. Loneliness isn't just about, I don't have somebody to hang out with. It's, I don't know if I feel needed or valued by somebody. And the best way to cut through that is to make somebody else feel needed or valued. Know their coffee order, show up, celebrate their promotion at work, show up when it's not easy and you're tired, show up because you feel they would need you there. And it's a duty. As a father of two little kids, I'll leave you with this. I think we all need to feel loved, but we also need to feel that we matter.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Thank you for joining us. Where can our audience find out about the book and the show?
So the audiobook is audible.com/The Buddy System. The podcast is Man of the Year. And my handle is Matt Ritter 1. I have links to everything there. Thank you so much. This was one of the most enjoyable pods I had, just feeling like somebody who shares my mindset.
I agree. Thank you for coming.